Hey everyone, and welcome back to our channel. If you're anything like me, you live and breathe Jira for project management. But let's be honest, while Jira is fantastic for issue tracking, it sometimes leaves a little to be desired when it comes to high-level planning, road mapping, and classic Gantt chart functionalities. Over the years, I've seen countless teams struggle to get a clear visual overview of their projects, understand dependencies, and effectively plan for the long term in Jira. Welcome to a brand new video in our series where we dive deep into the best Gantt and road mapping tools available for Jira. Let's jump right in. Today we're reviewing TeamBoard Pro Scheduler, another powerful app available on the Atlassian's marketplace. If you haven't watched any previous video in the series, I do strongly recommend that you do so, because we've already reviewed several Gantt and road mapping tools such as Big Gantt, Structure Gantt, or WBS Gantt. So what is TeamBoard Pro Scheduler? And is it really a pro tool? Well, it's a comprehensive project and portfolio application for Jira. It's designed to help teams and managers visualize, plan, and manage projects, programs, and portfolios, as well as resources directly in Jira environment. And I know, and I mentioned that in the previous video, that resource management is very hot topic. All our clients ask about that, and we've worked with over 230 organizations. So trust me, you want to take care of your resources from the very start. Don't leave it for later, as these are the root causes of many problems that arise as your organization evolves. Besides that, the app provides a suite of features that go beyond native Jira capabilities, and I'm not sure that I will cover everything in this video, as we're focusing on Gantt and road mapping, and we'll probably do several other videos on that particular app, because it offers some unique features that I haven't really seen, and I know that some of you are asking about them. For example, multi-assignment. Yes, I know that's another very trendy topic. So let's have a look at the app. I'll go over the different modules or views. There are altogether 8 of them. So let's start from the very basics. And I think working with the app is really straightforward and intuitive. The first screen that you'll see is the list of your programs, projects, and by the way, if you just want to get started, all you need to do is click on one of the projects that you see on the screen. I created some sample data prior to recording this video, so you already see I have a couple of projects. I can organize them into programs. I created a portfolio consisting of 3 different projects. When it comes to the interface here, it's really straightforward. Creating programs is really straightforward as well, so I won't be explaining that in details. There are 2 different views, the tiles view and the list view, with some links to different views or modules available within the app. Now there's also the concept of teams. So this is something that I haven't really seen within the Gantt, although you can assign work to teams. You can just create a custom field for that. There is a workaround, but having a concept of teams within the app is definitely great. There are more settings. I won't be diving deep to the settings in this video. I will just mention that there's quite a lot of things here, some standards such as the permission schemes. You can create the holiday calendars, set the working capacity for your resources. There's the time off, there are the color schemes. I think I'll leave it for the next video because these are quite interesting. There are also the notification schemes here, which I really like, by the way. Long story short, here you'll find the mapping settings, so you can decide which data is synchronized with Jira, such as links, such as dates, but I think I'll leave it for the next video. Now, when it comes to working with Gantt, once you created your program or portfolio in my case, all you really need to do is click on it and you will be redirected to this detailed view where different roles within your organizations will find what they need. Let me close this pop-up and I'll start with the First one, the dashboard. It's nice to have a reporting dashboard out of the box within the tool. It gives you an overview of what's going on within your program or portfolio in that case, or a project. There are some statistics. I won't be diving deep here, but I think what is important is this app comes with its own time logging feature, which I have to admit I really like. You don't need another app just like in Tempo, just like in BigPicture for that purpose. Of course, assuming that Jira's native time tracking functionality is not enough for you. There are some team statistics here. So I have a couple of users that I've added. If I remember correctly, I created 2 teams, assigned it to this portfolio. So altogether, all the members are shown here. What I do like also here is that there are built-in export feature. You can export to an image. You can import and export your data from a file. That's definitely great, available out of the box without the necessity to purchase additional add-ons like in the case of Big Gantt or BigPicture. Now there's also this beautiful report here showing me an overview of my resource utilization. So we definitely have some capacity, we have some logged work, we have some scheduled work. Now I have to admit that the quick start option here with the instructional videos, how to get started, are also very helpful. Another thumbs up for TeamBoard. Alright, there are also time filters here, but that's pretty straightforward. Now, when it comes to creating plans, working with Gantt, you really need to, besides having your timeline and the list of work items, you also need to have your resource panel. So in some apps, it's a resource panel section of the timeline, or a dedicated module when it comes to BigPicture, but in this particular app there is a separate screen for that. You can group your resources. I will get back to that. Alright, so I did create a group, and what is important here is that when you're working with someone on a specific topic, you might want to create groups for that. Quite an interesting thing. I haven't seen that in other apps. But what is important here, the idea here is that if you're working together with or as a group on a specific topic, you can create your groups here, and these groups will be available when you're looking at the schedule view. So schedule view is kind of like a resources panel if you compare it to other apps that we have reviewed. So you see what amount of work is assigned to different users or groups, and you can also switch to groups by department, by position. So kind of similar to what we've seen in BigPicture, but I won't be talking about BigPicture today. There are plenty of videos on our channel if you would like to learn more. So what is this view for? Imagine you have a list of your work items, you have your timeline, you've assigned work to team members, and then you want to see whether they are fully utilized or underutilized or overutilized. So that's the exact screen where you'll see that kind of information. And grouping by different departments or groups or positions will just provide a different angle on all that information. Quite an interesting thing, especially when you're planning your resources demand and you want to see, okay, where are the gaps, where are we missing team members with particular skill, whether our departments are understaffed for the initiatives that we're working on. All this information is available here. So let me close this pop-up, and what you see here is that I have enabled the workload. Now if I disable the workload, I will see who exactly is working on what. So I have a list of my work items with their start and end dates. I can, using drag and drop, change the start and end dates, so kind of do some resource leveling here. Another important concept here is that generic resources, and I haven't seen that again that often in other apps. So the idea here is like it's a placeholder for assigning work to team members when you don't really know who will be working on that actual work item, or you want to calculate what is the demand for, for the next year, assuming that you plan a couple of new initiatives, and you can use the generic resources for that purpose as well. Now here when we click on the task, you will see the side panel with some task details here. So for example, the general section with the amount of work scheduled, story points, the time tracking details, logged work, the planned time, unplanned time as well, together with color coding, so you can color code your tasks. And we all love color coding as it gives us a quick indication of whatever the color represents, so that's definitely great. There'll be also some issue details, the projects, assignee status, labels, and so on and so forth. You can update the dates here, but again, you can do it using drag and drop as well. You can reassign work also here using drag and drop, so it's pretty straightforward and intuitive. There's also the plan details, so you can change the assignee, convert the issue to a milestone, and you can define how much time will the resource spend on a particular task. So I think I had a task here with some data. Okay, let's say right now it's 0. Let's try to fix that. I will edit the task, so all I need to do is click on the edit screen. I will use the Jira pop-up for editing the data here, and let's say this task will take me 4 days. Okay, so once I have the original estimate, the unplanned hours show up. I do have an assignee, so let's plan, let's say 2 hours a day, update this task. Okay, and I have planned 2 hours working on that particular task. If I switch to a workload, you will clearly see that my resource will work 2 hours on that task. There is one thing that you don't really see here, so we'll get to that, but you can assign 2 people or more resources working on a specific task. That's something that I haven't really seen in other apps. And now there is also some place for notes and some sections that are disabled because they are not available whenever the work items are mapped to Jira issues. Now on that view you also have the filtering options. These are straightforward, so some basic filters by project, issue type, priority, and so on and so forth, and quick filters that you can define yourself. There's also the search pop-up here where you can search for your issues. Let's do a quick search. It did highlight my issue. I have to admit that I like it. It shows me all the tasks highlighted clearly, easy to find. Well, good job, TeamBoard. Now there's also the issue button here that allows you to search for issues. Let's go with assignee, maybe Chris, and do a search. So I will have all the issues shown in this side panel. And from here I can also assign work, so I can just drag and drop, reassign work, assign whenever I find any issues. There's also the JQL query, so quick and easy to work with that timeline. There's also the refresh button in case you make some changes, as well as a full screen and some additional preferences. So for example, you can hide completed tasks, you can mark non-working days, show overdue tasks. So I do have some overdue tasks. For example, this guy here is overdue by 3 days, so you have this clear visual indication of tasks that need your attention. You can also show the members' position, so that's another nice thing to have. You can also show the skills, and that's great when you have your work planned using skills and you know exactly who's available within your resource pools with a particular skill. There's also the board settings section. I won't be explaining that in details, but for example, you can enable, disable the different views, such as the views that we are discussing. You might be wondering what is the difference between the timeline and the Gantt chart. So here it is explained. The timeline, although the modules look very similar, but the timeline is way simpler. It has a issue hierarchy just like within Jira, and the WBS Gantt has its own custom hierarchy where you can structure your work as you like. And on top of that, it includes some advanced features such as baselines or critical path. We'll get to that. Here you can define the quick filters, select the color patterns, and auto enable, disable auto scheduling. This is per project, by the way, and change the scope. So I will have a dedicated video about all these more advanced features here. Let's go back to our schedule. Next module here, or the next view, is the calendar, and I know how you like working with calendars. I'm not a huge fan of that, but I see the value that you know exactly when you need to start working, so you can plan your day, plan your week. There is the export feature here, export available out of the box. There is the issue panel and refresh button, some additional preferences, so filtering completed tasks, and you can decide what information is presented on the taskbar. Here you can also see that I have a paid vacation and a sick leave, right after that. When it comes to working with tasks, when you click on the task, you will see all the task details in the side panel. So something I've already discussed, and I think again it's nice to have such an overview, all the details neatly presented in the side panel. So you can also inline edit it and, for example, update the status here. So let's make some more progress, or actually mark this as completed, so my dashboard will look a little bit better. Alright, so calendar is pretty straightforward. Now the timeline and the Gantt. So I already mentioned that there are some differences. You could think of the timeline as a simplified Gantt chart that does not have custom hierarchy, which is quite important, unless of course the hierarchy out of the box in Jira or Jira Premium is sufficient for you. I'll jump directly to the Gantt module, as it is more advanced and allows me to create a custom hierarchy. So when it comes to the Gantt, we'll start with the list of issues. It's customizable just like in other modules, so you can just pick from a long list of fields. You'll have all the different fields which you can add as columns, and there are some TeamBoard apps custom fields as well, such as colors. Well, I think it's pretty straightforward. Now what I see that is missing here, although you have some sums or roll-ups, for example, for the progress, for the time spent, you can't really customize these columns just as you would do in Big Gantt, as you would do in Structure. So here there's some area for improvement, although for basic use cases that will be more than enough. So let's customize this view and add some time tracking field, for example. Alright, so if you want to make use of this feature, all you need to do is to create a parent-child relationship, or create a work breakdown structure. This is not available when sorting is enabled, so I will disable the sorting real quick. Let's find my issues and let's add some stories to my epic. Alright, so all that's pretty straightforward. All you need to do is drag and drop. Okay, and now the first thing that happened is that you see a clear difference. The original estimate now shows the sum of all the estimates at the parent level in our epic. However, if you look all the way to the portfolio level, it does not roll up. You have it on the dashboard, you have the reports in graphical form, in form of the charts and reports on the dashboards, but not really on the issue list. Well, in that sense, Structure Gantt, Big Gantt do a way better job, but it is what it is. Now I do have some warning that tells me that the plan doesn't match with the start and end date. Let's have a look here what has happened. I will need to switch to the monthly view, so there are also some view modes, even the quarterly view, so I've added some tasks that stretch further away. Let me just drag and drop it on the actual epic. So we do have the parent here. Now using drag and drop, I can bulk move all the children here, and I've also resolved the warning. Alright, so scheduling, let me go back to the monthly view. Comparing it to other tools, I think Big Gantt is my top candidate when it comes to auto scheduling. Here it's way simpler, but again, it really depends on your needs. Now, if we create the dependencies, it's pretty straightforward. When auto scheduling is enabled, it will reschedule all the issues. You can delete the link by clicking on it. There's also the lag time, quite useful if you want to have a gap between the two tasks that are linked. For example, you are waiting for the paint or the new paint on the wall to dry. Alright, now let's have a look at the critical path and baseline. So critical path highlights the issues that directly affect the project's duration. So any increase in the time of that issue or decrease will also have an impact on the whole project. Here it's pretty straightforward. They are highlighted in red. Now I haven't really created a good timeline to represent that feature. I will do that in the next video. There are also the baselines. Let me disable the critical path. Baselines show you the initial position of the tasks at the moment of creating the baseline. I think I had a baseline. If not, I will create a new baseline. Okay, I have a baseline right now. Now if I enable the baseline and confirm, you will see this bold line showing me the initial position, indicating that there was a change in my schedule and the task was delayed for whatever reasons. Now I can decide whether I want to collapse, or let's maybe collapse all this. We'll see here that it shows me the high level roadmap view. It also allows you to plan your high level items first and then decompose them. By the way, when creating issues here, when you right click, you can create a sibling issue, a child issue within the hierarchy, or a sibling milestone, and so on and so forth. Sort by different options. Group, let's group by assignee. Let's convert this slightly so it is now grouped by my resources. Quite a nice view, representing a similar view to what you've seen in the schedule. There's also the time log, right? So I see how my team members logged work. I have my planned work. So I planned to work 5.3 hours. I've changed the duration of the task. I just need to hit log and this will update. I can group here by members. I can show the different members here. If I have a longer list, of course, filtering would be quite useful. Decide how much work I want to log, or I want to add my time off as well. And the reports module, which shows me the resource utilization, the capacity, scheduled work, logged work, as well as overtime. And we also have these reports per project, per tasks, for each of the tasks, right? We can switch to a flat from a hierarchy list to a task list. So I have all the details in this lower section as well. So that's it for this video. Again, I will get back to that tool, especially that it covers way more than a standard Gantt chart tool, if you ask me. It has some more advanced features. I will make a dedicated video of my favorite features of that app, or maybe some shorts for that purpose. And I will stop right here, but keep in mind that if you're struggling to get the most out of your project management tools, don't just install a new solution, truly transform how your teams work. Partner with GeniusGecko to unlock the full potential of your digital transformation and start delivering real value today. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.